Hello, Chef. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Shivani, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And thank you for joining us today. It is wonderful to have you here on our episode. Chef, I'm very inspired by you. The things that you have been doing for the industry is very unique and very different. If you could tell us about how did you start your journey? From where did you start? Where did you thought of being a chef?
Uh, First of all, thank you. It's really nice to have portals which cover up chefs like this, behind and personal, which is I think good and should be continued throughout the industry. So good work on that. And coming on to my past, which has been very interesting so far. Uh, where I started from was basically my dad is a chef as well. He just retired recently, but he served Himachal tourism for quite a long time. And watching him, right in the beginning, right from the childhood, I gained that passion. A lot of chefs they say that yeah, we were engineers, we were doctors, but then we thought to become a chef. But me, वो जब से like we say होश संभाला तो I wanted to be a chef only. I didn't had any second option or choice either. So my passion grew up, especially with staying next to dad, watching him cook every day, checking papers for the students. Lot of basic things which just came in, and then I just basically went for the course in Chandigarh. That was FCI, Food Craft Institute, that time, and then later on now it's been CIHM, this step trainee program, which is by Boys Group. And then I thought to move on to further educations, to Australia. I was confused between New Zealand or Australia, so I was like, okay, let's go to Melbourne for some time, study. I told my parents, give me first few months of fees, and then rest will be managed. Mm-hmm. So this is the education bit where I've picked up this whole profession.
Great, chef. And so you cook Himalayan cuisine. Could you tell us something about the ingredients that you use? At least like top 3 ingredients that you love to include in your cooking, and which people should know about.
Yeah, sure. I mean, see, I would say I in fact cook on basis of spices. That's more of my sort of food. I know it's very different to say that, but I don't divide cuisine of India into different regions. For me, it's more about defining spices. So if I'm talking about fennel as a spice, I want that dish to taste as fennel. That you should have the real essence of that fennel in that dish. Because हमारे क्या होता है, हर एक चीज में गरम मसाला जाएगा तो we lose that definition of that spice. अगर किसी भी legend को बताना हो कि how we break down that garam masala, जब आपको explain करना है, let's say to a person who really want to get into depth for the food, but you can't, because we have to start layering the spices accordingly कि आप उस हर एक spice का जो एक unique essence aroma है, it comes into that dish. So I basically work on those spices to be particular about. और जो आपने बोला ingredients, Himachali ingredients, I'm very fond of bichu butti, which I made really popular recently, that all the big chefs also have picked up that ingredient and started showing on a TV platform, which is very good. And then bichu butti, or you can call it stink nettle. Bichu butti is very common thing which grows around Himachal. Parents used to use it to sort out their kids when they are being naughty, which was one of the things. And then lingard, which is ferns, fiddlehead ferns, and not been very commonly used in hotels. In fact, I was surprised even the hotels in Himachal are not using them. And apparently other countries, Japan especially, they really value these ingredients. So
these are originated in Himachal? These are originated in Himachal, or they are also produced in Japan?
They are not originated in Himachal, these things, or of course they have traveled here and there, which of course my team, which I have Dr. Sanjay Thakur, he's the one who actually does a lot of foraging for us and helps us to identify. So most of the things have been bought in and out from India some or the other way, or have been transported long back. So there's a lot of knowledge, again research, which have to go in So when we come to just basic ingredients, I mean, these are the ingredients which really make me wonder that the shishnu, they call it in Nepal, and bichubuti, we call it in India, have a very distinct flavor, and apart it's from the same region. So there has been a lot of, I can say, hybrids or different sort of breeds of the same ingredient have been on the same belt of Himalayas according to the altitude. So definitely it must have been traveled from here to there and not being native to Himachal. But then it's all about what is growing currently in Himachal, Yeah.
Chef, so you have done a lot for Himachal cuisine. I also know that you have gotten a Guinness World Record.
It was all about the message for that idea was about promoting sustainability, because we see a lot of people talk about sustainability, but I don't see any changes made. When people talk about malnutrition or food fighting hunger, I don't see the authentic efforts being made. They mostly take it for granted because of the commercial factors. But then I wanted to create an example that we don't do anything commercial. We take that idea, we keep it organic. We take this message that, look, we are creating a sustainable restaurant up there with the ingredients which are present in Himalayas, and we are respecting that nature. We are respecting that nature, and we are saying if we can do it at 18,000 feet, when we can cook with lingard at 18,000 feet, why not a 5-star hotel which is based right with all the commodities cannot bring their menu a little bit different to what they are serving on every single 5-star groups. If you see, from asparagus to broccoli, they are everywhere in all menus throughout India, irrespective. So I want that change to be made, that at least once a week you put ingredient which is not very common into a restaurant business, and then we can call it a sustainable effort. Otherwise, it's not a sustainable effort. Just removing plastic straw and calling yourself sustainable or working for climate, it doesn't. It's just we call it selective empathy. Just very selective. कि यार एक चीज निकाल देते हैं. So we show that we are caring for future, but actually it's just for more of a drama. But my projects, I make sure that they are not for dramas; they are for real cause. And I want the young generation also to be inspired with these ideas, and they create their own such ideas for future. And I think someone have to start. So that's where we started this idea. We bought this idea, and fortunately we're gonna take it to second round, most probably this year or next year. So we are coming up with the second season soon.
Oh, great! Looking forward to that. So now is the great time. So now that even Government of India is also promoting vocal for local, and a lot of local cuisine has been now. It's going to inculcate into the menu of various restaurants and hotels. If you can tell a little more about sustainability.
For me, like I said, for me, sustainability is a very serious topic. It's not anything to be, it's not a jewelry. People have taken this term as a jewelry. Actually, a lot of people are using it more commercially than actually being productive with it, and which I personally think is not right. Of course, there can be their own marketing strategies and all, which we shouldn't be going into depth. But the thing is, sustainability for me, it's very small changes we make. I was watching a food documentary where they say we have 23 billion chickens on the planet, and the demand just gonna go up and up and up every year.
Right.
Cows producing a lot of such gases which creates heat on the planet, which increases the temperature of the planet every year.
So I mean, you're talking about the methane that comes out of the cow?
Yes. So a lot of these things, small factors. Now, how an individual hotel or a chef can change that? By removing that particular ingredient just 2 days a week from his menu. As simple as that. So imagine if 2 days a week no one have chicken on that menu, how much of a relief on a cycle we are giving to the nature. And this what we don't understand. We are just every day, agar chicken chal raha hai, to it's everywhere throughout the country. I know it's a sort of an impossible cycle to bring out, but then if someone really needs an efforts, these are the efforts. I mean, 2 days a week. Okay, if hotels doesn't want to do, I would say if you're staying at home, you are a meat eater. I'm a meat eater as well, so I don't really promote veganism or being vegan. But either way, 2 days a week, it doesn't harm. It just contribute to the planet. And I personally do that. I keep myself away even for my events. If I have done even back to back, which is all about meats, so I will take a break, and then next season will be vegetarian. So a very common example, I would say Noma, a restaurant, which is doing something very similar. They have separate seasons. So when they have to give rest to the meat, they do give the rest to the meat. And I think this psychology have been adapted slowly in different countries, and it should come to India as well, where people have to take a break, at least 2 days a week from the proteins, and give them a rest so we can recover, we can heal, and so the demand also stays in control, which is very important.
Right, chef. And chef, you have worked in various different places internationally as well. Where do you think Indian cuisine stand right now, and what would you ask a aspiring chef to to lift that up and make that count as one of the top dishes or top cuisines of the world? How can they contribute, and how are you contributing as well?
Definitely, it's a nice question. I mean, Indian cuisine is loved throughout the globe, irrespective. People love it. People love, the impact of spices, which is getting into day-to-day life of people as well. You see, turmeric have been a global hit recently. People are adapting it in their cuisine. Even European chefs are putting it on their menu. So, I mean, it was just a matter of fact that we were not being able to explain our spices in that effective way. And that's why I started right in the beginning that it's all about spices. It's not about regions now, and it's not about dividing, oh yaar, ye north ka cuisine ya south ka. At the end of the day, the most common thing from north to south is spices, and east to west, it's all spices. And these are the spices which I think the youngsters, if they start explaining them to the best, I would say that they would better connect with themselves, with their own culture, and they would be able to explain that culture forward. And my personal take is also same. I do the same thing wherever my pop-ups are. My menus are based on the spices. They're not based on the zones. Of course, I have a little bit more of a partial side on Himalayas because that is my region. So I try to keep everything focused from that region. But then I speak to a lot of my good friends like Aditya Jha, who's half and half Bihari and Punjabi, and then Priyam Chatterjee. A lot of young guys, a lot of young chefs. He's doing a beautiful Bengali sort of modern take on Bengali cuisine. Aditya is doing his own version on Bihari cuisine. So I think this adaptation has already been in process. A lot of chefs are thinking with this philosophy, and the future is really bright. I mean, if all these youngsters get into front play, I think Indian cuisine gonna be a top-notch cuisine. Sitting right next to any other major cuisine in near future, I would say.
Good to hear that from you, Chef. Chef, also you have worked in various places, so you have not just confined yourself to the restaurant or a hotel. You have also started your own venture. You have worked in flight as an in-flight chef as well. What experiences would you want to share of working in different areas?
See, I've done pretty much a lot of different roles, including old age care, being an in-flight chef, working for a zoo, because in zoo also people do a lot of private events and stuff like that. Okay. So that, and the leftover used to go to the animals. Of course, not everything, whatever is approved by the government goes to the animals. It's all different experiences, and I think everyone must try and get into different sort of fields because they can get that exposure, that how to work in different sort of atmospheres. Personally, I was in aviation for 7 years now, which was amazing experience because we get to travel, we get to learn, we get to meet people of a sort where you need to learn how to bond with your clients, with your guests. It's very important because mostly jo kitchen profession is about, it's about staying behind the walls, and you don't really get connect with the outside world. So I would say these kind of places gives you that opportunity where you can a little bit open up and be presentable and talk to people and make them feel comfortable when they're talking to you. And this is, I think, part of the whole process being a chef. You should be able to do that, which is definitely not being taught. It doesn't get taught in the colleges, but then it's your own responsibility to learn that throughout the experience. So for me, I had a great time. Aviation was good, but it's just if you do it for too long, it's about it's good for traveling. I would say it's good for getting to know places. But then when you have done that, you should leave that comfort zone and get into the real world. Get back to the kitchen. Get back to the cooking, because that's where white jacket normally belongs, in the kitchen. Other one I did was old age care in Melbourne, where we used to have about 60 bed facility, where we had 60 different sort of different age factors they had, and they were staying there. Retired people, they like to stay away from the families, so they were staying over there, and we used to take care of them. Easy going food, and but again, it was again there I think I pretty much learned about how to get emotionally connected with food, because sitting with those people who are much more experienced, much more knowledgeable, and they have lived their life, they have a lot of things to share, and they have a lot of things to talk about. And it's beautiful the way I'm the only brown guy working in that kitchen, and it was very unique for them to have someone from right from the different part of the world and serving them, which they would have never expected.
This experience that you're sharing is from Melbourne?
Is from Melbourne, yes. And it was so nice to see how every morning, because they have very low memory, the more you go up with the age, your memory try to, they become kids, that's what we say, right? So you would see them dressing up all ready to go in the morning, waiting for the kids to come and pick it up, but it's actually not their day to go out. So then you have to come outside the kitchen, and you need to sit down with them, talk to them. I think emotionally, when I got to connect with food, that how important food can bring that change into their whole mindset, that okay, let me do something for you, why don't you come in kitchen with me, we do cook something nice together, and that way they stay entertained, and they forget about whatever they're going through or they must be thinking about. And I think that was one of the points where I learned pretty much a lot about food, and about how food influence others, and how it changes your mood, how it changes the complete sense of emotions, which was incredible. I enjoyed that bit as well. Then working for zoo, people used to have a lot of events, so you will have a background of a giraffe, whatever you call it, the cage or the area, and you're going to do a barbecue, and they can smell, actually, you're cooking some meat, the lions, tigers, they can smell it. So I was in Melbourne Zoo for a while, about 6 months, which was again good time as well. And you get to see those beautiful animals every day, although I'm not in much of a support of captivating animals for commercial purposes, but as long as they are rescued and are being well taken care of, which they were, I was pretty much entertained, and it's a beautiful place to work, so yeah.
Sure. The best day of your life?
I always say they're yet to come, that's the thing. But then I had pretty much a lot of beautiful moments. The moment we broke a record and we had a national anthem played on, and it was a very nice moment as well, because one thing is that you're doing an event with a lot of support, with a lot of corporate people supporting you, backing you. Like nowadays, in Bollywood also, people talk about nepotism and all that stuff. You have a lot of that backdrop, but then our was a very organic effort without any godfathers in the industry. My dad himself, I mean, he was never into fame, he was never into coming into front line, which I think I basically learned it as well. But then it's just my projects get me that fame outside the kitchen, but organically these efforts, we don't depend upon any sort of money making kind of policies. So that event was very well connected to me, and I think it will stay connected for a very long period, because I would say that with that example, any ordinary chef who's coming from a middle class family can think that if Sanjay can do it without any financial backings and all that stuff, we can also do it. So we have to make these dreams a little bit achievable, so people can dream of those targets, those goals, and they can actually reach there. So this is one of the reasons I was very happy that day that we did it, and I want other people also to come forward to such initiatives and do it. So yeah, that was one of the most memorable days we had.
Thank you, chef. And I just have one last question. What would you want to tell the young aspiring chefs and young professionals who have just joined the industry? What would you like to tell them?
I would say that look, we have social media, we have internet. Use that wisely. I was telling people on my live yesterday that my first break was with the chef Manjeet Gill. When I connected with him, I never met him personally, but he was just watching my stuff which I was putting on my Facebook, and that's where he got in touch, and he got impressed with my work, and that's where I met him. That's through Facebook. So I would say every person that don't just take social media very lightly. It's something which can make or break your life, and use it positively. Very important. There are a lot of competitions out there which are easily accessible on social media. People don't have to invest, like San Pellegrino Young Chef to BBVA Scholarship, all these small portals. It's very important for young chefs to grab those portals, and I would say that apply for them. First of all, they're not paying anything on it, and then second of it, it's just going to give them international exposure which they want. Because otherwise, if they stay in the industry, they're going to stay here for a very long time. So if they want to learn fast, they want to move places, they have to make some efforts and use social media very effectively, and support the right people so people can support them back on the same regards, and keep working hard. I mean, don't think of being a celebrity. White jacket is not about being a celebrity. You are a chef, and just take this profession as a chef, and not for being a model or being. I mean, there is no harm on it if it comes later stages in your way, but then don't aim for that. That's not your aim. You are in kitchen because you love cooking.
Right.
If you don't love cooking, don't be in kitchen. I would, if you want to be a model or be in front of the cameras, then do that. There is a lot of TV shows which take auditions and put you in front of the cameras. But then the kitchen is a little bit of a different place where you have to show that love and passion and no greed, zero greed. So yeah, that's the message.
Thank you for that impressive insight. I really had wonderful time speaking to you today, and I hope we connect more for more such experiences of yours.
Sure.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Shivani. Thanks.